for ellipses when we're given certain characteristics. So first of all, it says write an equation for the ellipse with vertices negative 4, 4 and 6, 4 and foci negative 2, 4 and 4, 4. So what I like to do is I like to go ahead and draw an example. Okay. And so first of all, I'm just going to quickly draw a sketch. This doesn't have to be anything fancy. This is just going to be one that kind of shows me visually what the center is going to be. Okay, so first of all, negative 4, 4. Here you go. And 6, 4. Okay, so those are the vertices. So since those are the vertices, what direction is this ellipse going to open? It's going to open what?
Left.
Oh. It's going to be something like this, right? Okay, because vertices, remember, are on the major axis. And so now I need to find the center. Well, I know the center is halfway in between the vertices. That center is in the middle. So if here is negative 4 and here is positive 6, what's halfway in between that?
5.
1, and then the y value will be 4. So I know that the center is at 1, 4. Okay, so I can go ahead and start writing my equation right now. I've got x minus 1 quantity squared plus y minus 4 quantity squared equals 1. So now what I need to find is I need to find A and I need to find B. One of these I already know right away. Which one do I know right away? A. A is the distance from the center to one of the vertices. Okay, what is that distance? 1 to 6. 5. Good job. So that means A is 5. And remember, A always goes with, in this case, it'll go with X. So in this case, I'm going to put it over 25 because remember, you always put it over A squared. Yep. So now what we need to do is we need to find what B is. And right now we don't know what B is, but we do have one other tidbit of information. They tell us that the foci are at negative 2, 4 and 4, 4. Okay? So the foci is C. And so in this case, what is C? 1 to 4 is what? 3. Okay, so now if you remember with ellipses, there was one equation that I told you you really needed to know. And so if you want to flip back to that table, what was that equation that I highlighted? What was it? B squared equals A squared minus C squared. Well, I know what A is. I know what C is. So let's go ahead and plug those values in. So B squared equals A squared, which is 25, minus C squared. Well, I know C is what? 3. So C squared will be 9. So B squared equals 16. Now, you don't have to do any more than that because it didn't say find B. My equation calls for B squared. So you can just stop right there and plug that number in, and that's your equation. Okay. So far, so good? Let's look at another one.
You don't have to take the square root.
Oh, no. All right, write an equation for the ellipse with foci 19, 3 and negative 7, 3, and length of the major axis equals 30. So once again, we're just going to quickly draw a sketch with what I'm given so that I can kind of visually see what's going on. So they tell me 19, 3 and negative 7, 3. So you know what I'm going to do? Here's my negative 7. Here's my 19. There's 3. That's where your foci are. Okay? So that means the ellipse is somewhere outside of there, so something like this. Where's my center going to be? Center's going to be at, what's halfway in between those two? Easiest way, add them together and divide by 2. 6. So here we go. 6, 3 is where the center is. So my center is at 6, 3. Is it going to open horizontally or vertically? Horizontally because of how the foci are. So I have x minus 6 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 1. So let's figure out what we know. What do I know based on my diagram? Okay, what is this right here? C, what does C equal? 13. So now I got to figure out what A is. So the only other tidbit of information they tell me is that the length of the major axis equals 30. So when it says that, what that means is that from endpoint here to endpoint here is 30. So what do you know A has to be? 15. Yes. A has to be 15 because A has to be half of that. All right, because they have to have 2 halves that are the same. So I know A is 15. So where am I going to put A squared? Under the X or under the Y? X. So I'm going to put 225. For those of you that are wondering, that's 15 squared. Okay, so now let's figure out what B squared is. So B squared is A squared minus C squared. Well, what is C squared? 169. So what does B squared equal? 56. So that's the number that goes here. And there you go. So now each of these is going to have different characteristics, and based upon the characteristics, you're just going to have to decide how to approach the problem. Let's look at another one. Write an equation for the ellipse with major axis -6, 2, and -6, -8, and minor axis from -3, -3 to -9, -3. So once again, it really helps to draw a visual. So -6, 2, -6, -8. Okay, so here we go. 1, 2, -6, 2. So there's 1. Okay, here's the other 8. Okay, it tells me the minor axis is -3, 3, -3, -3. So -3, -3, and -9, -3. Okay. So now we have to find the center.
What?
We have to find the center. Where's the center going to be? It's going to be right here. But what are the coordinates of it going to be? Yep, -6, good. -6, -3. Now this is the nice thing. Since they gave us both the major and minor axis, this is going to be your x coordinate, and this is going to be your y coordinate. Okay? So my equation, x plus 6 quantity squared plus y plus 3 quantity squared equals 1. So let's figure out what we know. Okay? So this distance here is A. What does it equal? 5. So does the A go with the X or the Y? Which one does it go with? Goes with the Y. It goes with the Y because it's up and down. Look at the A. The A here is a vertical distance, guys. This is a Y distance. So that's where it goes with. So now we need to find B. This distance here is B. And that distance is 3. So that means B is 3. So what will go underneath the X? What will go underneath the X? 9. Okay. There you go. We've got a few more things to just cover quickly. The first thing is on the next slide, which is on standard form for the equation of a circle. Biggest thing on the circle. The center is still the same, but notice what a circle equals. It equals r squared. Radius squared, that's right. What does an ellipse equal? 1. Okay, so a circle will equal r squared. Now, say for example, I had something like this. Let's just do x squared over 4 plus y squared over 4 equals 1. You might think that's an ellipse, but it's really not. That's actually a circle. Can somebody tell me why I would know it was a circle from looking at it? If you ever have those the same, and this number here is a 1, that's going to be a circle. And that circle will actually have a radius of 2. Okay, because that's kind of like the r squared right there. All right, eccentricity of ellipse. This is used a lot kind of in space. And the eccentricity of an ellipse is the ratio of C to A. C, if you remember, was your foci. A is your vertices. Okay, your eccentricity is always between 0 and 1, and it determines how circular or stretched the ellipse will be. So pretty much what I stated up here is down here in the table. That's not necessary for you to write down. Okay, but, so let's go ahead and look at this one. It says determine the eccentricity of the ellipse given by the following equation. Now remember, it's the ratio of C to A. So in this problem, I know that A is what? Who said? What'd you say? Louder. 10. A is 10 because it's the square root. B is 3. So in order to find the eccentricity, I need to find C. So I'm going to use that formula that we had, B squared equals A squared minus C squared. Okay. I know B squared is 9. A squared is 100. And I need to figure out what C squared equals, actually what C equals. Okay. What does C squared have to equal in order for that to be true? Yep, C squared has to equal 91.
Why is it negative?
It's not negative because 100 minus 91 is 9. Okay. So if I take the square root of 91, I should get to 2 decimal places 9 point what? Let's see, what is the square root of 91? Parker thinks it's 8.6. Let's see.
9.5.
Oh, that's good.
5 what? 4.
I ran out of
So now the eccentricity is defined as C over A. So in this case it'll be 9.54 divided by 10. Okay, C over A. So E equals 0.954. Good job. All right, let's look at another one just to make sure we have that down. This will be the last one today. Okay. What is A? 8. What is B? 6. So now I've got to find C. So to find C, I know that B squared equals A squared minus C squared. So 36 equals 64 minus c squared. So c squared equals 28. Good job. So now let's take the square root of 28. And what do we get c to equal to?
5.4,
5 point what?
5.47.
5.29. Okay. So now eccentricity is going to be c over a. So 5.29 divided by 8. What does that come out to be? So 0.66. And there you go. Okay. All right, so now we've finished up section 7.2. You should be able to finish your homework and get it tomorrow, okay? So homework is due tomorrow.